Hey, what's going on, everyone? New World Order, Survival Guy. Today, I want to talk about loan prepping. For those of you that are preppers like myself, you know, why does it seem like everyone else looks at you like you're a crazy lunatic? That you, we are just jumping to conclusions and just freaking ourselves out for nothing. Why people prep? People like you and I prep because we pay attention to the world around us. We see past the blinds. We know that bad times are coming, which they are. We pay attention to whether it's the economy, the corruption, the goals of these string pullers, and even we know realistically the concept of disasters and emergencies. Not everyone preps for instance, SHTF, New World Order, Armageddon, whatever you want to call it. A lot of people prep for emergencies. Maybe they live in a emergency natural disaster type area and they want to be prepared. See, public opinion is persuaded by social media, media in itself, mainstream media, and now you have government basically demonizing prepared individuals. It never used to be like that. Being prepared was a way of life back not in a distant too long ago. They encouraged people to prepare. And not only that, people just plain simply had to prepare to survive, let's say, through the winter and through different weather situations that took out people's crops and stuff like that. Not even on their homeland, on their homestead, but just in general that supplied all the grocery stores. If there was a bad crop or if there's a flood or something that a disease or something like that, it'd take out the farmers and those stores back in the day would not be filled. Now you're dealing with sabotage. You're dealing with sabotage. You're dealing with a government that is not in the people's best interest whatsoever. They're in it for something far more sinister than that. I won't get into too much of that today, but you guys know what I'm talking about. We prep because we want to be prepared for anything and everything that is coming our way. We believe and know that things are going to get rough. It's already been announced by Wally World, Walmart, that shelves are going to be bare coming up here real soon. Preppers hear that and immediately start preparing for those times. A true prepper has already been started doing that. And a prepper thinks about everything that he or she may need for that person and their family. It is detrimental because, I mean, nowadays you see how many people there are, and you know what happens at last minute shopping when something happens, like if there's a fire or flood or just something. People go in the store and they start bogarting. They start, like the toilet paper incident back in that convid. Toilet paper, paper towels, all that were wiped off the shelf for months. Well, imagine if that happened with food and water. Now, water has happened many a times before. It's just sporadically throughout the country on different events and stuff like that. Water is going to be one of the first things to go. Always. Because it's the most essential, the most crucial to life. You need water for everything. Cooking, cleaning, drinking, your garden. The list goes on and on. So, why do people hesitate to prep? Why do people not prep? Why do people frown on the ones and make fun of the ones that do prep? Well, they're blind. They feel that nothing is going to be an issue. They're spoiled. You live in a great country of United States of America. You're spoiled. No physical wars ever happen inside the continental United States any longer, so to speak. There's things that happen, but there's no foreign wars on the mainland any longer, so far. People think that government, despite all the examples and the opposite actions that they've shown, people still believe that the government is there for the best interest of the people and that they will be there to help us in a crisis, in a time of need. Everything will be all right. We're not going to starve to death. We're not going to be without water. We're not going to be without anything. This is America. If you're in a bad situation, don't count on the police, law enforcement, to be there to save you. You have the Second Amendment to handle that issue and to save your own self and your family. Because a minute too late is a minute too late. especially in a crisis situation where crime amplifies tenfold. Don't count on anyone to help you or to save you, to feed you, to protect you in any notion. Be there for you and yours only. That's why we prep. The people that don't prep have a blind eye to everything. They're very naive. They have a severe case of cognitive dissonance. But the day is going to come where it's going to kick them in their own ass. Oh, it's coming. Mark my words, it is coming. And those people are going to be so frustrated and so pissed off. They truly believe that they're going to go to your house and you're going to cough up your supplies. In many cases, that's what they're going to do. What choice do they have? They don't believe in preparing at all. So they have nothing. They don't know how to do anything. They don't have any skills. They're going to be stuck. And they're going to flip out. They're going to start getting real desperate real quick. And what's going to hit their head when they're starting to get hungry or when they need something is you. If they know that you prep. I don't care if it's family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, anyone. They're going to remember you. So that's why I always say it's so detrimental not to flap your gums about what you have and stuff like that. Trying to preach to people. I know it's in good faith. I know it's because you want them to be prepared because you know it's coming. You want them to be prepared like you are so they can take care of themselves and their family and be on the right path when shit hits the fan. But they're not buying it. They don't care. And you might often get comments like, yeah, well, if anything happens, I'll come to your house. I did a whole show on that way back some months ago. You know what I tell them? I tell them like, hell you are. You ain't going to like the results when you come banging on my door after I've been warning you and trying to get you to gather some of these supplies. And you think you can come over and I'm going to give in and give you stuff out of my family's mouth, my supplies that I worked so hard and paid for, and I'm just going to fork it over to some idiot that didn't believe that this could be a possibility or didn't care enough to prepare for it? You ain't going to like the results that day. I'll tell you that. Because I'm not going to be nice about it. You will get ran off. At least. Anyways. See, I see preppers talking about, yeah, but I'm just gonna prep for other people, and so, I mean, there's certain situations where that might be okay, but for the majority of well able bodies that refuse to prep, they have plenty of money, you know, they just laugh it off and nah. Well, those are the ones I'm gonna be, letting them know real quick. There are people that, you know, you you may want to help and stuff like that, and I understand that. And I'd be the same way. Um, but think for you're preparing for yourself and your family and maybe a little extra. Think about your supplies, how they're gonna diminish real quick when you add other people and factor them into your preps. And then they have loved ones, they have people that they would do anything for, and they're going to let them know, and then they're going to try to talk you into more and more, and your supplies are done. I'd be very leery of who you let know. Be very quiet. And like I always say, don't keep all your eggs in one basket. Hide a lot of that stuff outside your house. I don't mean your backyard. I mean away. It's very important to do that. You got family, you got friends, co-workers, neighbors, like I said, family is obviously ones that you would maybe consider, make sure everybody got a piece of shit family. So make sure it's ones that you can trust, because certain family, they'll stab you in the back too. They can. I know people have family members like that. So take that consideration, man. Neighbors will definitely, if it came to your buddy down the street, he's going to decide this dude or my family. They'll take you out for what you have to take care of theirs. Preppers are on stage. You're on stage before SHTF. People look at you like, this guy's a weirdo, man. He thinks the world is going to end, and they always try to demonize it. They always try to make it sound like the worst thing. Like, oh, this guy thinks the world's going to end and shit like that. No, preppers don't think the freaking world's going to end. If we thought the world was going to end, why in the hell are we prepping? We won't be here. That's why I got to continue telling people, no, I don't think the world is going to end. I've never said the world is going to end. Dummy. Those people you just want to get the hell away from. And those are the first people that you're going to react in a protective kind of way when they come banging at your door when shit hits the fan. So preppers are on stage, man. They're going to remember you when shit does hit the fan. they see you walking down the street with the pack or something like that, they're going to remember. They're going to know that you have supplies. You have what they need. And if they can't come and take it from you from themselves, they're going to get a group of people that are just as hungry and desperate as they are. Like I always said, good people in desperate times will do unfathomed things that you see as their personality. You know, people will do anything to feed their family or themselves. So, duties of being a prepper is hard work. Being a prepper is hard work. We're always constantly thinking about ways to be more and more prepared. It's kind of like a non-stop deal there. It gets exhausting. It costs lots of money, especially over time. There's always things to think about, whether it's routes, food, keeping food good, whether it's the gardening, whether it's just, you think, you see stuff that you think would be an asset to your prepping collection and stuff like that. It's a big chore, man. You got lots of things to do, and that's why you don't want to give it up so easily to some idiot. So, I mean, duties of prepping, it's far more than that. It's, you got to learn how to start fires. You got to learn how to keep food good. You have to learn what wild edible plants you can eat and take. Otherwise, it can take you out, right? You have to learn how to purify water. You have to know what's around you, what's your surroundings, what you have to be street smart. I mean, the list just goes on and on. You know, you have to know how to build a shelter, how to keep warm, how to obtain fuel when the gas pumps run out. There's so much to know and learn when it comes to prepping. That's why it's so vital to limit yourself on who you let know, because all that hard work can be flushed down the toilet because of some scumbag. Most people are not with you, and they're not going to be with you. I know you probably feel like you're the only one in your area that preps. You don't know, like, I don't know hardly anybody. I know a couple people, but I hardly know anybody else that preps. That just shows your vulnerable position, that you're the only one that you know or close to it that preps. You know, that's sad. That's a lot of people that are going to perish because they're not mentally ready, they're not physically ready, and they're not ready as in supplies. So those people are going to flip their lid and, you know, so most of these people ain't with you. most people don't have an area where the community is a prepping community. And these people that don't prep really ain't good for nothing anyway. So you don't want them in your little conjugation anyways. Because they don't know how to do anything as far as prepping. All they're going to do is sit there with their hand out the whole time. Like you're some freaking prison warden feeding these hungry inmates. They don't know how to garden. They don't know how to purify water. They don't know how to forage for food. They don't know how to start fires. They don't know how to do nothing. They're worthless. It's sad to say, and it might sound a little mean, but I'm serious. You don't want a bunch of naysaying freeloaders. I mean, if you have some elder family or an elder neighbor or something like that, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about capable bodies that could easily have done all this stuff, but they're just nah. You know, nobody's gonna be with you. Don't count on it. How can you trust anybody anyways? You know who you can trust and who you can't. But half of them people that you think you can trust, you probably can't. Prepare for your enemies to be your neighbors, family, friends, strangers, co-workers. They know you prep. You turn them down, they're going to be pissed. They're going to hate you. And then you're an enemy, all they're going to be thinking about, all that's going to be on their mind is taking you out, getting your stuff, stealing from you, whatever. Sabotage your vehicles. They might put sugar in a gas tank. You never know. But you are going to have enemies. I don't care how long you've known your neighbor or whatever. You're not going to give up all your stash to them. They're going to hate you, and there's going to be issues. There's going to be issues. You walk down the street with a backpack, there's people that's going to target you or want to target you. Enemies are going to be everywhere. And you think government's going to be on your side? Or you think they're going to do you like they did citizens in Katrina and the Boston bombing and all that stuff, where they go door to door and take your firearms and take your supplies? And like I said on a show some months ago, there's laws, there's statutes written from the executive branch that it is legal for the government or any of its affiliates like FEMA, any of those things, to come to your house and take your survival supplies. I'm talking about batteries, fuel, flashlights, food, water containers, literally anything, your garden. They could take your seeds, water filtration, solar systems, blankets, virtually anything. There's many different statutes of laws and stuff that they wrote, and I expressed what those statutes were. I can't remember right offhand right now. I have to look at my paperwork and stuff like that. But if you look at one of my older shows. It's called Government is Going to Take Your Preps. I mentioned all those written laws. So just know that. That's another reason why I say don't have your shit in the house. Or not much of it. Don't have all of it there. Yeah, so anything more than they deem see fit, like they say, oh, everybody should have 3 days worth of food in your house. Anything more than that, they're going to take. They're going to say, we told you what you needed. And you have more than 3 days. You have 5 days. We're taking some of it. And you think they're going to stop there? Or you think they're going to just go ahead and take everything? So silence is golden, people. Silence is golden. Keep your mouth shut. If you can, pay stuff in cash. I know I'm a guilty person in that aspect because I pay a lot in credit card. Or not credit card, debit card or something like that. But yeah, I don't have credit cards. I'm not a debt slave to the system any longer. So, silence is golden. And always just be very leery of who you tell and what you tell them. If they're coming over your house or something, they might be able to figure it out a little bit. But minimize it. Say, you can bring up the conversation or something like that. But don't let known what you have. Count on yourself. Don't expect anybody else to show you sympathy or expect anybody else to relate to what you're doing. You get a lot of patriotic people, believe it or not, and they don't prep. They don't prep. On the outside, they might seem like they do, so you might say something to them like, hey, yeah, so how do you think this world is going in, and stuff like that. You might have a Second Amendment shirt or something like that. You ask them, hey, how do you think this world is doing right now? Well, you think bad times? Nope, Trump is going to, he's changing all that around. He was inherited this issue and blah, blah, and he's turning all this around. Oh, this is going to be fine. Oh, never mind, dude. Never mind. You're an idiot. You're a window licker. Never mind. People are so stupid, man. Thinking that bonehead Trump is going to save anybody when he's part of the problem. We're going to be out of freaking food on the shelves in the summertime. Trump is in office. He's a participant in all this shit. Trump ain't saving shit. Trump is a puppet by the globalists. Just like Biden. Just like everyone else. He's part of the problem. Every time he's in office, there's always something big and crazy and people lose their jobs, people lose their lives, like that COVID shit. He was in office. He pushed for all this shit. He pushed for the arm juice. He pushed for He closed down shit, made people lose their freaking bomb and pop shops. He's sitting there crying out for some damn pro-Second Amendment shit, but he's the one that came up with the red flag laws and the ban bump stocks and these trigger mechanism, which is all an infringement on our Second Amendment rights. He's saying all this Second Amendment stuff, but here in Colorado, we're sitting there getting stripped of all our Second Amendment rights. And so is the other states across this country. He's the executive. He's the top. He can control what happens in these individual states when it comes to constitutional rights. But he just got to get off his dead ass and do it. But he's not going to because he's a puppet working for the globalists. Moving on. Just about done here, man. Main thing is you got to be an expert on judging people, judging government personnel, judging your neighbors, judging strangers. You got to be an expert in judging the public. You got to be an expert in judging situations. Because there's some pretty bright people out there that are up to no good, and they will be up to no good. The ones that don't prep, they're stupid in one aspect, but they might be smart in others. And there's people that are really good at manipulating people, changing their character to come about people a certain way. There's people good at getting what they want. And they use a whole barrage of different type of tactics to accomplish their goal, which is to deceive you and convince you to trust them, whatever sad story they have. A lot of you people are going to be deceived and conned and let your guard down just a little bit, where they're going to take advantage of that and wipe you out of your preps. So it is very important. I mean, street smarts. Some of you might think, oh, no, man. Street smarts is a damn good thing. And one of the biggest things of street smarts is don't trust anyone. Don't trust anyone, because everybody on the streets has some sort of game. Everybody's out to hustle someone. So the smartest thing is, I ain't trusting nobody. I'm not sitting there playing your games and sitting there just to see if you're honorable or not. It's like, just be careful. Just be careful. Don't push people to prep. They're not going to listen. And like I said before, government, anytime there's something going on, some emergency, some disaster, some kind of event or something that happened, government puts out these things on paper and the news media wanting people to snitch. They've done this plenty of times. Want people, give them a 1-800 number. And if your neighbor is a prepper, he might be a lunatic. Go ahead and call this number. You get a little reward for it. If you know your neighbor that has firearms, call this number. If, just anything. If they're hoarding stuff, give us a call. Because we know you're not getting what you need from the stores because this guy is hoarding stuff. Which he may not be hoarding. And they don't care. The government knows that. They just want you to snitch on the people so they can go out and clean out your supplies. There ain't nobody that's going to be surviving when we're trying to thin out the population. That's their goal. That's one of their biggest goals the globalists have written, literally in stone. Georgia Guidestone. They want the world's population to be knocked off like 80, 90%. Bill Gates even talks about it countless times. About the world cannot sustain itself. We cannot sustain living on Earth. The only way is through population control of the stupid climate change or whatever bullshit lie. So the only way that this Earth can still continue and life can continue on Earth is through population control. And some of the key factors of that, this is out of Bill Gates' mouth. You can find it all day long on many different channels on YouTube, talking about the orange juice. Through those, I can't say the word because I've already got strikes and warnings. I don't want my channel taken down. So, through the injections of orange juice and through other means, and I can imagine what those are. Maybe all the cancerous stuff that they put in all the food and all the products and stuff like that they sell with no regulations. Maybe the stratospheric injections, chemtrails that they inject in the skies. Maybe the fluoride that they put in the water and all these other heavy metals and stuff like that. The fake foods, petroleum byproducts. I mean, there's many ways of what they do, the spoon feed population reduction. Cancers and stuff like that are through the roof. And all these other crap is through the roof. I wonder why. Autism is at an all-time high rate. I wonder why. Absolutely insane. Just don't tell people, don't try to push people to do this shit, because all they're going to do is get irritated and they'll be the first ones to snitch. So, you're going to have to be a lone prepper for a while. I mean, you'll meet others, maybe. Like I said, I know a couple people, family. That's it. But then again, I don't really socialize with anyone too much. Not really. Because when I did about it, bring it up, talk about it a little bit, they just, just give you that fluoride stare. And it's just like, okay, I get it. You guys are freaking idiots. I'm not going to waste my time. I don't care what happens to you. I don't care. It's kind of sad to say, because you're all Americans, and Americans got to stick together when certain shit comes about and shit like that. Maybe when it comes to fighting or an opposition that infiltrates our country or something like that. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, everybody's different. I just don't have patience for people, really. So, so, yeah, that's just the topic I wanted to bring up for today. I have a few shows that I'm going to be putting out This week, it's going to be more reviews of products and addition for your prepping stash. Things that might come in handy that you might not even know exist, or you do know exist and you're on borderline on getting some of these items. Tomorrow I'll be doing a show, at least one, maybe two. I'll probably just try to space it out throughout the week. But yeah, that's all I got. If you have any comments, drop them down below, please. I'd love to hear them on this specific topic about prepping and the people. Do you know a lot of preppers? What kind of reactions do you get when you bring up prepping and stuff like that? Yeah, let me know, please. Once again, if you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. The New World Order Survival Guy. Have a good night. Catch you on the next one.